Number 5.
Number 5 is 41.
When I look at 41, I feel like you are putting together an idea. I am looking at a big whiteboard. And as I'm looking at the whiteboard, I'm seeing you writing stuff on it. And you're going, okay, I'm going to write this down. I've got this going. This is what I think I need to do. You're pretty good at organizing things. And then you're standing back. You put your writing instrument down and you go away. And then I see you turn around and looking at it and go, no. I'm just going to leave it as it is. And I think I'm going to have to change it. You're going to make a lot of changes in 2022. That whiteboard is representative of what it is that you are pulling together in the way of accessing information, peeling away what no longer is necessary, and really getting to the core of what it is that you want to address. And this means that you have to pay attention, writing things down. Journaling is just wonderful, but you need to be able to put something in black and white and then go step away, go back, make your evaluation, step away, and then go back in again. And you're going to find yourself feeling so good about how, with all of that effort, you're going to bring something into a core positioning where you're going to know exactly what it is that you want to shift into. Also, economically, there is a new financial plan that you're going to work out, that you're going to work with. And this financial plan, you must be very methodical with it, but you'll get the results that you want. Also, there are 2 people that I'm seeing that you know. One is going to pass away by the 7th of July. The second person is going to be very critically ill. You will have a chance to visit this individual if you so choose before they pass. There should be no grief here. These individuals are ready to go. They are ready to leave. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if at some point you are involved in hospice. There is something here that's very significant, and I think you're going to have what I would call a witness positioning of some very, very special happenings around people when they pass over, which I think is going to be a gift. All right, Tiffany, are we on number 6 now?
Yes, number 6 is 35.
All right, when I'm looking at 35, I get the word relocation. Now, I'm not quite sure if this is going to be a job, a residence, or both. I have no idea, but I'm looking at a relocation. And I'm seeing, and I wouldn't blame you for this, an attitude about moving. It's like, I do not like to move. I just don't like to do it. But you are going to find that there is going to be a relocation, and you will actually think about it very, very carefully before you make the choice. And once you make the choice, then you're going to be doing some homework about exactly what it is that you're going to want, whether it's with a job or with a residence. You're going to be very, very thorough, which is going to ensure you're being very happy with your choice. Now, I'm seeing something affecting the throat, and I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but I would say I'm not seeing you sick. So I don't know what's evolving here. It might be that you are just beginning to find your voice in a way and manner that you have yearned to find. And this is something that definitely is going to have an impact on you. I like what I see here. I do think that you are a person that has such a depth that when it comes to discussing spiritual items, you're very thoughtful about who you talk to, because you don't want anybody trying to, what do I want to say, change your mind. You enjoy good communication, you enjoy open communication, but you are not ever, nor have you been in your entire life, ever of the mindset to deal with people that are very dictatorial in their attitudes. You just don't have any tolerance for this. And I think that comes from a past life experience where you have been more than once a prisoner of culture, environments of one kind or another. And in this life experience, you determined that that was not ever going to be in your space. And you live up to that. And you don't do it to other people. You make darn sure nobody does it to you. Number 7.
Number 7 is 40.
When I look at 40, it's very interesting because I'm getting an image of early colonial America. And I think I'm in Pennsylvania. And I am looking at an environment. It seems like the community, I think it's Philadelphia. I could be wrong. But there's a community of people and there is a lot going on. I think you are a cook because I'm seeing a special bean recipe being prepared. And it looks in my mind as if you're young and you would have been maybe in your late teens. And there is some kind of an epidemic that hits. And I think it took you out early. I don't know if it was smallpox or diphtheria or cholera. I don't know what it was. But this, I think, is around, I could be wrong, but I would say maybe in the 1700s when I'm looking at it. And I'm seeing you in a household being a cook, and you're struck down by this. And you have a very short life, obviously, but you weren't the only one. In fact, almost the entire community was devastated by whatever this was. And I think there were actually like 2 infectious diseases going on at the same time. So I think some people got smallpox, other people maybe got cholera or diphtheria, but it was a couple of infectious diseases going around at the time. And this appears to be in the late summer, early fall, because I am smelling the leaves that are falling to the ground, but it's not a whole bunch of them yet. So it has to be very, very late summer, early fall when the leaves are beginning to come down. Very interesting. You have an affinity for writing. And when I get this imagery of this time frame, I'm looking at this and I want to say, do your writing, do your historical research, go for it, because it is going to open up doors for you. You're going to have an insight into yourself because of past lives that you never, ever imagined would be possible. So I think that you've got a very interesting patterning coming around you, and your dreams recently have been showing you different points of information. And I want you to be aware of that. And I want you to know that there is this soul part of the self that is waking up and paying attention. Write it down in a journal. It may not make sense at the time. Write down whatever tidbits you can remember. But even spontaneous things that'll flash into your head, write them down, because that is going to train your conscious mind to remember what it's supposed to remember. Okay, and I think we have number 8.
Yes, number 8 is 49.
All right, when I look at 49, I want to say be kind to yourself. 49, there's so much that's gone on in your life that you've never even shared with other people because you feel, nobody's really going to care. But the problem is that you've isolated yourself to a degree. Don't be afraid of your frailties. Don't be afraid of the secrets that maybe you feel that shouldn't be told. Don't be afraid of that, because it's not going to serve you well. You need to know that you have a work that is evolving for you. You have had people asking you to do certain things and you don't think anything about it. You go, oh, that's very nice. Yes, I'll help you out, blah, blah, blah. And then you just let it go. But I want you to be kinder to yourself. And I want you to realize that you do have something that you're being prepared for, that's going to bring you into a whole new environment of people, and it's going to make you grow in a way and manner you would never have imagined. You couldn't have planned it out if you tried. And I see so many people in your family's tree, your father's side especially, being with you, saying, we want you to know our stories. What this is engaging, I have no idea. But I think that there is history with your family that's going to give you some answers to questions that you have long wanted to ask, but didn't know, honestly, the right question to ask or how to do it. You just didn't know what to do. So I want to encourage you. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid to step into the new self that you're developing. Hello, hello. Okay, I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear
There
me
we
now?
go. I can hear you now.
Thank
Okay.
you so much. You talked, it was so spot on. I can't even tell you. I started crying immediately.
What did I say? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was that I was going to be prepared to do some traveling, and you felt that you pictured yourself with fists, and that to pick up the pace because I've been frustrated. And frustrated about not being able to get momentum. And then you talked about that you felt a sense of in your grief in your chest because of something from my past that I haven't been able to release. And I have actually been preparing to make a complete life change. My only child just went to away to college, and I am totally alone. I'm in my life, and I am looking to make a huge change to go move somewhere, either to Portugal or to Mexico, somewhere international. And I've never done anything like this. I've never done anything for myself. So I am trying to leave my regular 9-to-5 job by taking a total leap and I'm taking some classes to do some virtual work. And I've been just frustrated myself because I haven't been able to really get going because I'm scared to death to do this. And
okay, well, let me make a suggestion to you.
yes.
First of all, why don't you look at doing some incremental steps? In other words, let's say you decided you wanted to go to Portugal.
Yeah.
I would get in touch with, someone from the embassy of Portugal or whatever, or if you know some people that are there, and see if there is like an exchange kind of a program, or maybe you could get a job, working as a teacher or whatever. But right now, you're not really going to be able to be allowed, overseas. It's just the way it is with the COVID. So if you can make the steps of preparation and make those links and maybe do a trial run, maybe during the summer, because I think a lot is going to be opening up by summer. So if you do that and you get to know some people, you find out what it's going to cost to rent, you're going to need to have some kind of an income. So enjoy your process and look at it with a sense of enthusiasm. And you may find, I don't want to go to Portugal. Hey, Paris, here I come. So you want to be able to explore, but also you need the solidarity of understanding what the requirements are. If you're going to need a visa, do you need a work visa? What's going to be going on here? So take little steps, and that way you'll work with your frustration.
Yes. I think the other part that was huge was also you said that you felt that a sense of grief or something from my past that I haven't released, and I need to let go of that. And part of with my daughter leaving, I inherited my mother's house when she passed away. And now I think it is something that I have not. It's been just very heavy. I watched her pass away in this house, and it's definitely brought that to light again. And so it's been an emotional last couple of months. And so everything that you said resonated completely. And I just want to thank you for sharing your gift with us and with me, particularly this evening. Thank you.
Let me make a suggestion relative to your mother. Number one, have a friend assist you in going through some of the things that need to be released. Number two, if you're going to be overseas in Europe, why not have an income from a rental? Why not rent out your mother's house? Don't sell it. rent it out.
Yeah.
And, you can get good people that are going to be reputable. And again, this is all the homework you need to do.
Yep.
Okay. And you will have an asset that will serve you and your family very, very well. So
Yes.
let's just be patient. And
Yep.
thank you for your nice compliments. Thank you.
Thank you much.
And there you are. Okay. All right, dear. And what did I tell you?
You basically said that I was going to travel all over the country, starting on the East Coast. And that's
Well,
probably
what else though went with that?
that not to worry, I'd find friends wherever I went.
Well, that's true. That is true. You'd make friends wherever you would choose to go. There is something about the traveling that when I'm watching that in my mind, you're very specific about where you'd like to be, what it is that you want to see. There is something that has an aspect of nostalgia with it, and I don't quite understand what that is in reference to.
Well, I grew up on the East Coast in a small town in upstate New York. And I didn't during COVID, but most years I have a friend who has a cottage on a little lake, Keuka Lake, nice, beautiful little lake in upstate New York. And I go and see her for like 2 weeks out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And, now we're retired. The kids are gone. We did sort of put it on pause for 2 years. We were thinking an RV, but I don't know if that's for me.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know that it's going to be the RV, but I do think you'll have something like a minivan that you could travel in. But if you're like me, you want the Holiday Inn with room service. You're not interested in camping out. Thank you very much.
I'll do it not every day.
Yes. But I do think that there is a lot of joy with doing the journey. So I think planning it this year is a very, this upcoming year, 2022, I think that's a great agenda. You'll have a fabulous time.
Sounds great.
Enjoy your journeys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Tiffany, who's number, let's see, is that number 1, 2, 3, 4?
That's 3, yep. Number 4 is actually me.
Oh, okay.
And you said, right now I am in a rhythm, psychically opening up, blossoming, and not to be worrying of anything because I'm in the right place at the right time.
Okay, and was there anything else?
You mentioned a dentist, and harmony is there. I haven't had it before, and so it might be something that I feel uncomfortable with.
Okay, there's something else, though, that I thought I said. I honestly don't remember, but you are in a development cycle right now, and it is very important for you to pay attention to those little signals. We call them little intuition pops. And if you do that, then it's going to become more and more common for you. You're going to find it a lot easier to work with. And this runs in your mother's side of the family, going back a good 14 to 20 generations. So I don't know what the ethnicity background that you may have, and this can have a very deep impact. Do you know what your ethnic background is?
I'm Chinese.
You're Chinese. Okay. There is old shamanic practices in the Chinese culture that not a lot of people give attention to. And I think you had ancestors on your mother's side of the family that had it. So I think it's been passed along to you. And I noticed the art in the background. You love art, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I would say use art as an expression for your intuitive development. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you might want to just work with colors with a big paintbrush, not trying to do anything specific, but just working with colors and putting them on maybe a poster board or something. It's nothing extravagant, but I think it works with you in that way. I think that creative side of you, along with that shamanic aspect that you have culturally, I think that blends very, very well, very well. So I think you can have fun. It sounds sort of strange, but you can have fun just developing your own abilities. And it's sometimes in very subtle ways. So enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, and who's next?
Number 5.
Hi, it's Karen Jessic. And you told me that I was putting together an idea with a whiteboard. You saw me organizing and walking away and coming back and making changes, and a lot of changes in 2022.
Did I say anything else?
You said I would be getting to the core of what I want to address, that I should do journaling, that I will be kind of planning, analyzing, adjusting. And you also talked about 2 people passing away, one in July, and I don't think you said when the other one would be, but you said I might be involved in hospice care.
Okay, when I was looking, and I can see this in my head even now, when I was looking at the whiteboard and I'm seeing you filling in, writing stuff down, there is that analytical side of yourself that has always been a positive, but you haven't really focused on things as you really want to. And I say this because there is something within you that is driving you to expand what it is that you really want to engage in. And so you're taking all of your background experience, you're taking all of the knowledge that you have acquired, and in a way, you're compartmentalizing it, but you, at the same time, I feel like I'm getting a compression where I am bringing stuff down, where any fluff is just taken out, and I continue to readapt. And by the time you get this, I'll call it a program put together. It could even be something like a book, where you're trying to put information in a book. But whatever this is, there is something about instruction that you are going to want to share with people. So you are going through this revision process because you want to refine it so there's as little waste of words, energy, application, period. You're going to want to share whatever this is with other people, and you want it to be efficient. You want it simple. You don't want it intellectually complex. And I really think it's going to take you some time to do it. But when you do it, a lot of people are going to be very impressed with what you've accomplished. But it will take a lot of work on your part. But that's the challenge. That's something you enjoy. You don't mind. You don't mind. You go, okay, let me see. We can strip this down. You're very good at doing this with other people. So now you're going to be utilizing it for yourself. And it'll serve you well.
Okay, sounds good.
You've got a very interesting journey ahead of you.
Yeah, I am finishing up a lot of things I was working on because I was settling my parents' estate. So I was fixing up and selling off real estate the last few years. And I'm selling the last house now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The timing for you to dedicate yourself to a new project is just about at hand, isn't it?
That's the part that really struck me, is I now get to decide what I want to be when I grow up again.
Yes, you're never going to grow up there, so it's okay.
Okay.
All right. And next person, Tiffany.
Next person is Lydia.
Hi.
Hi, Lydia. What did I tell you?
A lot. It was super cool, actually. you first told me, the first thing you said is relocation. And it was interesting because you then spoke of this process that I actually went through right before I made a relocation, which I made about a month ago. And when you were speaking, you were saying it like it was going to happen, but it was like the exact thought process that I've already gone through. But then you said it could be also applied to a job. And that is what has not happened yet. I'm not currently working. I DoorDash when I need money, but it's, that's not real, but it is real. But what I'm doing is I'm kind of on purpose waiting because I want to clear an opportunity for myself to really be intentional about what my next employment is. And you said that's going to result in me being very happy with my choice. So that was really reassuring. The next thing you said was also really interesting because you said something is affecting my throat. And I'm not sick. You're like, you're not sick, but it's affecting you. They're always so swollen, like they're always a little bit swollen, but I'm not sick. I have not been sick in
Okay, Lydia, your sound is acting up.
And then you said I'm finding my voice in a way that I've been wanting to for a really, really long time, like right now, like it's just happening. And so that was really cool because that
Lydia, if you
move on.
try turning off your video while
Okay.
you're speaking, because I think it's lagging.
Okay, how about now?
Oh, you sound so much better now.
Okay. Do you remember what the last thing I was saying was? What was the last thing you were hearing?
The last thing I was hearing was the throat and my saying you were not sick, but I had been picking up information about the throat. And then you were pointing your fingers. You said something about glands being swollen, but I also said something about you're finding your voice.
So it's my tonsils. They're just kind of always a little bit swollen, just always a little bit. And I'm never sick. I don't get really colds, the flu. I really just kind of don't. I'm very healthy. I'm on top of my diet. And then you said I'm finding my voice, like just right now, it is just starting to happen in a way that I've been wanting to for a really long time. And so that has been really interesting to me because it's been something I've been aware of and just kind of wondering about, not worried about, but wondering about, like, what is this? I bet it's an energetic correlation, something deeper is manifesting in my glands right here. So I wondered if that's maybe something there. So that was cool. I like that one a lot.
All right, let me say this. If you're noticing that your glands are swollen, the glands often are a filtration system. And so if something is in the body that needs to be dealt with, then the various glands, like your adrenal glands, the glands in your throat, we have millions of them throughout our body. They're doing their work. They're doing the job. So if you are noticing, though, that there is that, well, let's call it an inflammation with the tonsils, you might want to talk with someone that's engaged with Ayurvedic medicine or Chinese medicine and see if something like a ginger tea will ease that inflammation with the tonsils, because the tonsils actually, that's their job, is to protect against the invaders. And we've got bazillions of them around us at all times, 24/7. So I think that there is this finding your own voice, I think, is one aspect. But when you mentioned that you notice the glands are swollen, you want to find what you can do that it's going to be in a very comfortable way for you so that you keep those tonsils good and healthy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you for your comments.
Yeah, of course. There is more that you gave me a lot.
Oh,
But
okay.
we can move on though. I don't want to usurp the time here.
Oh, that's
Uh,
okay. Go ahead.
Okay. The next thing you said was that I have a lot of depth. And I appreciated that because I do. And that it makes me careful about who I discuss, especially spirituality with, because I don't want anyone, like, I will speak about it so deeply that not everyone, it's going to maybe cause some dissonance. Like, not everyone's going to be able to meet me there. And that is a thing that happens to me all the time, where I will just put it right out on the table. And it, like, I think people panic because they're like, oh, that's like, it's too real, or I don't know what it is for them. But that does happen to me, where I'll get like, someone's very like spooked and kind of like defensive. And then you said that has to do with a past life dictatorship conflict, where I was a prisoner of culture and dictatorship. And that is exactly what I just went through, with a relationship and then a social group I was a part of. And I still am. And those are still all my friends and I still love them. But I was trapped in a cultural like group think, and it was keeping me energetically small. And I wasn't able to just freely express my depth around these people and in this space. And so that's part of why I had to relocate. And so but it was reassuring. It was like, it's okay that I'm this way. So
Absolutely.
really,
Absolutely.
yeah. So
It is
I
okay.
appreciate that.
One of the things I want to encourage you to do, I want you to write down your feelings. One of the aspects that you will need to learn, and I say you will need to learn, is you will be comfortable in your own skin, but you don't worry about trying to educate someone or make someone aware of certain things if you have an understanding of where they are. And if you have an understanding of where they are, then you're going to be able to communicate much differently with them and perhaps drop a seed of thought, not an entire book of information, but a seed of thought. And it is being discerning with the words that you use. And that takes time. That takes time. And you're young, and this is something that you can come to understand, where you can be true to yourself, and yet you can have a harmony with people that you come in contact with. And I will tell you, since you're the one that I saw the dictatorial past life experiences, this was very, very harsh, and you paid a very, very heavy price in many different life experiences. So you need to know you don't have to go through that again. That is not necessary, but you need to become wiser and more skilled, I'll use that word, in your communication. And it takes practice, hon. It just takes practice.
Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome.
All right. Next we have Arlene.
And what is Arlene? Is Arlene 7 or 8?
Yes, Arlene is 7.
Okay. Hi, Arlene.
Hi, and I am the early America colonial.
Oh, Philadelphia,
possibly Dean.
Yes. Okay. Boy, that was so vivid for me. And you were a cook. Boy, that's exciting, right? But what else did I say? That picture is still in my head.
Yeah. So affinity for writing, and do my historical research for insight to self. Journal for dreams, and also just when you get those hits, to start writing them down.
Do you have any ancestry that goes back to that you're aware of, that goes back into about 1700s on the East Coast?
I think I have some that's actually up towards Canada for that. I mean, and most of my relatives, I think, are more like 1800s, but I'll have to check in terms of Boston area, Massachusetts. And
well,
I have personally in this life lived in Philly.
But there was just that real strong imagery. I saw a cotton type of a cap that was on your head, and you had an apron. You know, you were dressed in very simple clothes. You were a cook, and you were working with a particular pot of beans. I don't know where you got the recipe from, but apparently it was very much enjoyed by the family that you worked for. But it was a period of history, and this again was like a past life experience where the devastation from infectious diseases was just absolutely awful. And it was a time of year where it wasn't cold, because I don't see her with a sweater on. Even now when I'm looking at it in my mind, she's not wearing a sweater. She's not wearing clothing that would tell me it's wintertime. You know, I'm not seeing that type of clothing. So it looks like linen, cotton type of clothing. And when she got sick, and I'm inclined to think I'm seeing something with ships, high masts that I'm looking at. So this she might have been working for a family that was part of the merchant class, and they were located close to a wharf area, you know, where they would be able to go in and out easily, because you had to walk everywhere. But I think that I'm seeing these sailing ships. So it is wherever she worked. And again, I think this was you didn't have a long lifetime there. It was a very, very tough thing. But you've got what I call a pioneer spirit. You're pretty rugged, and you've let people know that, and you've gone through a lot of stuff, but you have had a great physical constitution. So in this life experience, your physical constitution is a strong one, and you're going to live to be quite an old lady.
I had wondered about when you said to look, to get the insights. There's reincarnation aspect, and there's just family tree aspect. And if it's actually going both of those two different directions.
Both of
Getting
those.
insights from both.
Getting insights from both. I think you're going to be able to recall certain life experiences. I think that that's one of the things that's going to happen. And if you were to visit certain areas, then you'd go, it feels like home. I know this area, you know, and you just then walking away from it. And I think we've all had experiences like that one time or another. It's like a sense of deja vu. But again, that life experience, I don't know why that was downloaded the way it was. And perhaps it was because it is a comparison with what we're going through today. And today we haven't had anywhere near the devastation that had occurred in the past. We've got a population that's, you know, massively larger than previous populations. And we have so many things that are so positive, that are so good, that we do not recognize, you know, what people have gone through in the past. And I think that there is that part of your awareness that you don't take anything for granted.
I had Googled while I was waiting, and there's a climatologist, Rush, that wrote up all about all the different Philly diseases and the multiple diseases and all that stuff. And I've been debating about how to tie healing and climate change stuff together. And so it was interesting that the medical articles all really were coming from a climatologist.
Well, climate
there were
does,
a lot of different hits,
yeah.
And I've been on beans for the last few days in my head in a weird way. And so I don't know if the beans are now or beans are then, or that's, you know, it all
just
comes together.
It's
wild from that perspective.
Yeah, go ahead and write down whatever the downloads are that you get. Don't make any judgment about them. Just write down the day, the time, and, you know, put the information there. And you're going to see how you're going to be able to collate it. It's going to come together. But you need all of these. It's like putting together a puzzle. You need this little piece, that little piece, this big piece, that little piece. and you're going to see a harmonic that is going to be very, very insightful. And why that is the case, you have insects that thrive in certain climatic environments. You have bacteria, fungi, all kinds of stuff that we're surrounded with 24/7. Nobody is exempt from it. But what is it that creates a catalyst that causes the challenge? And it can be with temperature, it can be with, various aspects of weather conditions, change. There's all kinds of things that go on with that. Do I make sense?
Yep.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I have several different examples, and I won't go into them now, but I can point to a bunch of different things, just like the beans being in the head for a few days, that all fit conversations with my son or whatever, with what you would.
It's fascinating. It really is.
Pointers that I missed, you were talking about.
All right. Now, I know we've got a few minutes left before 8 o'clock. And Tiffany, I don't know how many people that we have, but why don't
Donna, we
just
actually have number 8. That
Oh,
you've spoken with.
okay. Let's get to number 8 then. Who's number 8?
Okay, we have Denny here.
Hi, Denny.
I'm so happy. I wanted to read. So. Right
Okay,
on.
Denny. Yeah, I can't understand you.
Okay, so your words were right on as usual. Let me know if you can't hear me.
I can hear you now.
So you started out by saying be kind to yourself, which really resonates with me, and it was especially nice to hear. You said don't be afraid of your frailties, which is also true. You said don't be afraid to let people know that I was being prepared for something, and I was going to come into a new circle of people that I couldn't even plan it out how that was going to happen. And then you said there was something about my family tree, especially my father, that I was being asked to learn more about, and I think it was to write more about. You said that there was a lot of history there, and that was about it.
All right, tell me what your father's ethnicity is.
Okay, so I am Japanese.
Okay.
And I think on 2 levels, it's important because one of the books that have to get out is about a past life where I had the same father. And then life, I have a really interesting family tree on both sides, but particularly with my father's, because it goes all the way back 1,300 years. And, one of those like samurai type movies. It's very dramatic, and there's a lot of issues there. And I constantly think about my families, like both sides, and every day, something. And so there's got to be, I think you did pick up on that. And
what about your mother? Is your mother Japanese also?
Both.
Both of your parents are Japanese. Is there any other ethnicity that's in either one of their backgrounds?
Well, according to the genetic tests, no, but I was so disappointed I wasn't part Irish. I really, when I took this test, there was a lot of red hair in my mother's family, but apparently there's a part of Japan where they have like reddish hair. I wouldn't be surprised. You could also be tuning in on the past life, because that's from all countries around the globe, and not just, it's mostly like along the Silk Road and in Egypt and Celtic England, and I'm really resonate to the African culture. When I was little, I used to draw like palm trees and huts and little African. So, you know, to me, part of my work is seeing the similarities between global cultures, East and West. And I think one of the reasons what I was born, even though it's just one culture, Japanese, I think I was born into my family because they're really good bridge builders.
Well, I think there's something else though here in your family DNA, because I am looking at invaders coming in, and I don't know if it was Mongol. And of course the Mongols went all over, you know, in their known area. And there is something that is there that has come from the outside. And both your mother has it and your father has it, have it. So what I'm looking at, the reason I'm being so specific in my questions is that I think it is going to be important for you to be able to be aware of those discrepancies, even if it only might be a tiny percent, because I think it's being carried forward. And I think that there's going to be a lot of answers to questions that you have had. And when it comes to the African aspect, I am not picking up that there's the African aspect of ancestry. I think that that actually was part of your ancestry in past lives, in that there was the, I'm seeing a camel train, but there was Arabic environment, and I'm looking at your being a male slave, and eventually, in fact, you had your tongue cut out. You were a slave and you were with a master for a long time. You ended up being an old man in that experience, and you were comfortable. But, you know, it was really a very, very difficult life. But you got to know a lot of the Nubian people, a lot of the different tribes. You would see the slave trafficking. And that was all a part of this past life experience that I'm looking at. So I think that you carry over, sometimes when we come into a life, we carry over those memories, and you had those relationships. But I'm looking at your being born into a family that was made into slaves. And I think they were Arabic. They were a poor family. So, you know, they couldn't pay their debts or whatever. And you were sold. You were just sold when you were a little boy. And it was a pretty tough life. But because of the African environment that you occasionally would come in contact with, and it was a very affluent group that the slave traders dealt with. So you saw a lot of that for a very, very, very long time.
That's because I'm writing a book about Egypt, and I was told that it's two books in one. One is when he's a boy, he's in a family and he's sold. And the second part of it is they come back in modern times and remember back to the records that they buried in the form.
Well, what you're writing about is your own experience that you had in a past life.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I'd like to know what people thought of the blindfold demonstration, you know, how they felt about it. And is it something that intrigues them?
The messages were just so fast, you know, I was amazed at how they just came so fast.
Did you want me to see if anybody wanted to raise their virtual hands or?
Well, I know we're almost close to the end of the hour.
Oh, yes, that's true. It's 7:55.
Yes.
Well, Arlene said in the chat, Donna, thank you for the great combination of inspiration related to gifts and insightful readings.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Lydia says, love the blindfold reading. Robin says, I love the mix of practical advice and imagery. So evocative and supportive.
Wonderful. Good. Good. Well, one of the things I wanted to mention is the Me We event that's coming up on the 4th and 5th of December, and I'm going to be there. And I just really am looking forward to it. I've had 2 lovely women that are going to be assisting me, and I'm really looking forward to it. I can't tell you how meaningful it was to me, this last BEPC event that we did, and the response of the public. It just shows how important intuitive gifts are, how important it is that we put ourselves out there and not be afraid, not be afraid. There is such an expansion of consciousness that I'm seeing. And I really, really, I just get very excited about it, because look at how long it's been suppressed and people are so hungry and they are so ready for it. So just remember that you are the gift. And how many people did we have show up this evening?
I think we had about 19 people.
Wow. Wonderful. With all this stormy weather, it surprises me anybody showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we think we had some people with outages.
Yes, yes,
And-
yes.
Wilfred confirmed he still has no electricity, so
Oh, yes. I know. We're fortunate here. We haven't had the power outage. It wouldn't have surprised me if we'd had one.
We were mindful of time, that each one of us could have talked forever after the reading. And so we, as I said, we were mindful of the time and sharing. So
Thank
but
you.
it
I
was great.
appreciate that. Thank you. Well, we'll look forward to.
Lots of insights.
Thank you. Let's hope we have a chance to do this again.